So this is, the first thing you need is you need pot cheese. This is pot cheese. It's just like, I hope this is in the frame, I don't know if it is. It's just like cottage cheese, but it's much drier. You see there's no liquid there, but it has nice big curds, just like cottage cheese. Okay. The other thing you need farmer's cheese. Farmer's cheese is supposedly the same thing as cottage cheese, but without any water, the water pressed out, and you can see it's really crumbly. Maybe this is in the picture, maybe not, I don't know. It's really crumbly, and now it's crumbly everywhere. Nice. If you don't have either of those, you can use cottage cheese. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the crepe. We need a paper towel. All right, so the crepe is 6 eggs. We're going to beat them. That just takes a second. So we'll just use a whisk, knock into them. So you're doing that. Add that. And we're going to add 3 cups of water. So that's 1 cup. Now with any luck, it will go all over the kitchen. And another 2 cups. So it's 6 eggs, 3 cups of water. Okay? Requires 1/8 cup sugar. Yes, I know. Hi, Glenn. And now we need 3½ cups of flour. So let's just weigh that out. Turn it on. Tear it out. 3½ cups, so that's 120 grams per cup. I suggest using a larger scoop. Pre-planning. Okay, so that's 2 cups. I'm going to add that in slowly. And just whisk it to blend is 2 cups. Let's tear that out again. Add another 120 and 60 is 180. Perfect. This goes in. I'm going to do this enough to wet the dry ingredients. Looks pretty good. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to make the filling. Okay, so we're going to use 2 cups of 2 pounds, a pound of the pot and a pound of the farmer. This is 0.93, and when I have 2 eggs already in here, so 0.93 goes in. Now I know, hi Glenn. Now, let's weigh out 1.7 of the farmers. Here it goes. You know, on a scale, if you overload it, you will bust it. So always be careful. Actually, I need 1.07. Being able to do math is very important. achieved close enough to perfection. 2 pounds. We have 2 pounds of cottage cheese-like food in here. So we have no cottage cheese, we have 1 pound farmer's cheese, 1 pound pot cheese. And the farmer cheese is Friendship brand. You can get that at Whole Foods, you can get that at Fairway, and if you're in Brooklyn, you can go down to Brighton Bazaar and get it. But you have to go behind the counter. I also added 2 eggs and an 8-ounce pack of cream cheese. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to mix that up, and that's going to take us a bit because the cheese is kind of hard. So I'm going to lock it down and slowly do that. Then we'll get bored.
Did you mention the cream cheese in there?
I did mention we have 8 ounces of cream cheese. Okay, so this project is actually almost done. All right, so let's just knock it all back in a second. And I think you're probably going to want to see how much is getting mixed. So you should see how much it's getting mixed. It's really blended together at this point, and that's what you want. You don't want to see a lot of lumps in what you have. You want it to blend. All right, we're going to add our sugar. So we have 3/4 cup sugar. Sugar we don't want to add all at once in one lump. That's not a good way. Put some in. You want to make sure it's evenly distributed. And add the rest of the sugar, another 1/4 cup, so that's 3/4 cup sugar in total. Okay, so you want to add a 1/2 cup matzo meal to this. And again, if you're going to go like this and shake it down, you're never going to get an accurate measurement. So you want to just like dip and then swipe across the top. If you had the weight, it would be better, but this will do. So I'm going to add that. Try not to get it all over the floor. Okay, I also need to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So let me find the vanilla. Add cinnamon to taste, which I have no clue how much that should be, so let's find a teaspoon and let's add that. That should be good. You want this fairly firm so that you could stuff something with it, but you know, and that's going to depend on what kind of cheese you use. So you might have to use more matzo meal, and then remember, matzo meal is going to absorb any flavor. So if you do use more, you're going to have to add more spices to it. just want to make sure it's evenly distributed. That's key. So I'm going to keep going from the bottom and knocking out what's here. And that just so that it's distributed. Yes, that looks pretty good. Let's taste it. It's a hit. Okay. We're going to get ready to do the crepes. Okay, so I don't want any lumps in this batter, but I also don't want to keep mixing it because that will release the gluten, will cause gluten to form, and that would just be bad. So we're going to put it through the sieve, or mesh strainer, or whatever it might actually be called. Who knows? Okay. It's in. Dripping nicely. Okay. So now we have the pan. We think it may be 6 inches. We don't actually know. We have ignition. The first one always comes out poorly. So just go with it. We're going to heat the pan. Butter in. How much butter? Probably too much would be better than not enough. It's easier to get it out. And that's the key to this. I'm going to want a lot of butter, and I'm going to want to swirl it up on the sides of my pan because the crepe is going to come out on the side. Right, it's going to be there. So, if I put a drop of water in the pan at this point, it probably would sizzle, so that would be a way to know that it was about right. This is a very loose batter, as you can see. We mismeasured, but I think it's the way it's going to be. All right. Put it in. It's sizzling in the pan, if you could hear that. And I'm moving it around the pan. I want to cover all those areas. Okay? As I said, it's the first one. It never comes out well. It's going to be too thick. So we're going to cook it anyway. What I'm waiting for is the edges of the crepe to start to lift up. When those come away from the pan, I know it's dry enough to flip. When it's dry enough to flip, I'm going to make a mad dash for the towel and dump it on its head onto the towel. Okay? Okay, so that's nice and loose around the edges. All right? Here comes the mad dash. You ready? Brilliant. Done. No drops left. I'm not hysterical. Loosen it up. Let's put a bit more butter in. Okay, as my pan heats up, my crepe's going to be better. And I'm scooping. When I scoop it up, I want to go down to the bottom to make sure I don't end up with different consistency in my pancakes. Again, get a nice sizzle going. We're moving it around the pan. There we go. It's filling in the edges. Now, if I had put too much in, at this point, I would take the excess and I would spill it out. Okay? Now I'm going to put it back on. Now we're going to wait for the process to happen again. And that's it. can see part of it is a different color than the other, so I know this part is not cooking as fast. So I'm going to move that over the heat, try to get it cooked evenly. After they're filled, we're going to cook the other side, so I'm not hysterical about how much it's cooked, but it'd still be nice to be cooked. I hope the cameraman's ready, because here comes the mad dash. Not you, Brad.
I'm going over there. Go ahead.
Ready, Brad? Here we go.
Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
Dash. And that's it. So the pancakes, each crepe is separate because they're still warm, and touching a hot crepe is not good. These are all piled up on each other, 1, 2, 3, 4, because those are cool. If you put hot ones on top of each other, they will stick. That is not what you want to do. And you want them nice and thin. Like this one is almost translucent. I guess it is translucent. So you can really, it's nice.
Recording.
Generous tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half. Filling. I'm going to roll that over. I'm going to roll on the sides, hopefully making a neat package. And once over and I'm done. So you can see where there's bubbles. That means someone, I don't know who, put too much butter in the pan. So if you're not in such a rush, try to do it with less butter, and you'll be in better shape.
So in an effort to get the right amount of cheese per blintz, we laid them all out.
So now we're cooking. When we did the crepes, we only cooked one side of the crepe. And then we folded that cooked side. That cooked side was up when we put the filling in. So now we have the uncooked side that's in the pan, and of course it goes in with the seam side down into a hot pan with butter. When you store your extra ones in the fridge, I would only keep them for a day, 2 max. I won't even keep them 2 days. And you don't want them touching each other or they'll end up sticking. What I usually do is put them in the freezer, not touching each other on a plastic tray for a half hour or so till they harden. I take them out. I then individually wrap them in plastic and then wrap those again in foil. And they'll stay like that. And you're just basically waiting for the bottoms to brown. And then we'll flip them, and you also want the cheese, of course, to heat through. You have raw eggs in there. Let's make sure that's cooked. Once you take them out of the freezer, you're going to cook them while they're still frozen, and you want to turn them on their sides, especially if they come out of the freezer, to make sure that those parts also cook. Nice and brown. And because it's cooked on the seam side down, it's going to hold, hopefully, and stay shut. See what happens when you're not patient? It opens right up. Patience is a virtue. I hope you have that on film. Good, thanks. All right, I'm going to lower the heat. I'm just going to let those cook now.
Do you cook the sides also?
I do.
And voila! Dinner is served.
Okay.
Oh, well, are they ready to transfer to the plate?
Okay, done.
Oh, they are finished. Okay. And we hope you enjoy your crate. Blintzes.